Hello everybody, I am Gintas Minčiūnas, Head of Programming Staff, and today we will talk about Post-Processors API. We will define what a postprocessor is, what knowledge and skills are needed to create a postprocessor, how to start developing a postprocessor, and finally, I'll point out all available resources on Post-Processors API. The postprocessor is the translator between CAM data and CNC machine. We can think of it as a transformer from one form of information to another form. So we are getting data from CAM, converting it to the required format using transformations written in the postprocessor. Let's talk about the knowledge base and skills for postprocessor programming. First of all, it is expected that you have some JavaScript programming experience. Don't worry, a deep knowledge of basic-oriented programming is not necessary. If you can write simple function or procedure and pass arguments to it, it will be more than enough. Second, you must know the CNC machine for which you are creating the postprocessor. The file format for output should be fully clear. For instance, CNC file for G-code or MPR file for woodwork. And thirdly, you must be familiar with the data structure that comes from the CAM environment. With knowledge of these three things, you will ensure a successful postprocessor creation. I have no doubt that you know the CNC machine and perfectly understand its file format. By reading or watching the materials on JavaScript for beginners, you will learn enough to write the code for postprocessor. It shouldn't be a big problem either. The main unknown is the data from the woodwork for inventor CAM, which is about to be discussed below. Let's begin exploring the CAM data hierarchy in a simple part. It contains 3 CAM operations, 2 blind holes, 3 through holes, and 1 straight milling pass on the front of edge. We will utilize the dump XML postprocessor to generate and visualize the CAM data. XML postprocessor is available from the SDK folder. And at the same time, we will write code that iterates through this data. So, let's divide our screen into 3 parts. First part is woodwork CAM environment. Second is the data generated from test part by XML postprocessor. And third is JavaScript, where we will write a demo code to iterate through data. We start from top and main things. The top object of the postprocessor data hierarchy is the job object. All postprocessor code starts working from the main entry function called onPostProcess. Job object comes on this main entry as a global object. We can access job object properties and also iterate through clamping collections. The for loop is used to iterate through items. Now we can access clamping object and its properties and iterate through operation collection. The same for loop is used. Having an operation object, we can recognize its type and split the post-processor functionality for different types of operations. For this, switch statement is used. Let's look at the blind drill operation in detail. It has all data about tooling and cutting, and also collection of trajectories with geometry for drilling points. And of course, we can iterate on them. The through drilling operation looks like the same. It also has collection of trajectories with geometry for drilling points. The last CAM operation is milling. It is different from drillings and has its own properties and collections, such as orbital landing, leads geometry collection, but the principle of iteration remains the same. So, in brief, we have seen how to iterate through the hierarchy of CAM data. Let's now talk about most important code sections of the post-processor. The first section is the post-processor general settings. It contains an object named mandatory settings with several declarative fields. The second section of the post-processor code is format and variable section. All formats used by the post-processor are defined here. As an example, here is a definition of coordinate formatting used for G-code. The third section of the code is site transformations. Here, you need to define how each site coordinate system is oriented based on the clamping coordinate system. Please remember that all data of points and vectors are in the clamping coordinate system. So, you need to define where the origin point of site is and how its axes are oriented. So, if you want a point or vector on the front side, you have to define the site in this section. As you see, the front side origin is shifted down by the thickness of the part, and Y and Z axes are redefined. And the last section is the main entry point and implementation of the logic of the post-processor, and we are already met with it. Few tips before you start coding your own post-processor. Build on and modify existing post-processors that are already in the Woodwork for Inventor package. It is hard to create the post-processor from scratch, but certainly possible. Lean on existing examples. It speeds up the creation of the post-processor. Always make a copy of original post-processor. Rename it and only then make changes. Because if you write code directly on the primary post-processor code, a new installation or upgrade might rewrite it, and you will lose your work. So never code on the original post-processor file. Use Visual Studio Code to write the code. It provides many benefits of coding and debugging. And use dumb post-processors to better understanding and visualize the CAM data. There are two dump post-processors, XML dump and JSON dump. They give the same information, just in the different format. Resources on the post-processor API. First, it is Woodwork for Inventor manual. It is the primary source of knowledge for gaining a basic understanding of how the command works. Second is the SDK Post-Processor API help. It is the main source of knowledge for a complete description of post-processor API programming. Third, the samples for post-processors. Based on these examples, you can start writing your own post-processor. Fourth, woodwork of inventor support. Here, our team is always ready to answer your questions and support you. Thank you for your attention. Goodbye and have a nice day.